Memorial Day weekend is the unofficial start of summer, a lot of time outside and always a good time to talk about ways to keep safe in the sun. Skin cancer is the most common cancer in the United States. It's estimated 1 in 5 Americans will be diagnosed with skin cancer in their lifetimes. Everybody's at risk here. Skin cancer can affect anyone regardless of skin tone. That's according to the American Academy of Dermatology. We're going to talk skin safety with dermatologist Dr. Alexis Young from Hackensack University Medical Center. Thank you, Dr. Young, for being with us.
Sure.
SPF, when we're looking for protection from the sun, so many products out there, are there certain ingredients we should be looking for?
Absolutely. So SPF, the minimum SPF that should be applied should be SPF 30. Above that doesn't make much of a difference unless you're not applying a thick enough coating of the sunscreen. So the higher number could potentially make up for that difference. The sunscreen needs to include some zinc oxide or titanium dioxide. If it has one of those ingredients, then it will be broad spectrum. There are now tinted forms of the sunscreen that are better for patients of all skin types. So they go on with a nicer cosmetic effect.
I'm also wondering about spray versus a lotion type product.
So in general, I'm not a fan of the spray sunscreens because they're often not applied in a thick enough coating. However, I do think that there is a place for them for places like the hair where applying a cream would not be ideal, or for patients who aren't going to wear sunscreen at all and are willing to use a spray, then it's definitely better than nothing.
In your hair, I mean, I didn't know that. Are there other places, tell us first about putting it in your hair, other places we might not think about where we should apply sunscreen?
So the ears are commonly missed, especially in men. Women have some protection because of their hair, but men often get sunburns on their ears. So that's another important place to make sure to apply sunscreen. Wearing sunglasses can help prevent any damage to the eyelids because many patients can complain of burning on the eyelids. The spray for the scalp is more to get the skin, less so for the hair itself.
Okay.
Yes.
I didn't know that. People who use tanning beds in other parts of the year, they may think, wintertime, I'm going to take care of this. Is there damage? I mean, period. Is that a good thing to do? And how does that affect the skin under the hot sun?
So no tan is healthy. A suntan is basically the skin's response to damage from ultraviolet radiation. A suntan actually provides an SPF of only about 2. So it is not protection. Some people think that they should go to a tanning bed before going on vacation, and that is the terrible idea. The rates of melanoma are higher, are linked with the use of tanning beds has been linked with higher rates of melanoma in those patients. So tanning beds should always be avoided. Tanning beds are also the rays used in tanning beds are UVA rays, and those are the rays that not only cause skin cancer but are also linked with aging. So it's basically like sitting in an aging box.
You don't have to say anything more to me on that. I've never done one, but that just rung quite clearly. Mistakes, common mistakes, and one of the questions I want to add to that part of it is this, you're in the water swimming, and you come out, you should reapply. How do you gauge that, and is it different, for instance, for babies versus older people?
So for everyone, if you do go in the water, you should reapply sunscreen as soon as you get out of the water. If you're out all day, you want to reapply your sunscreen every 2 hours. If there's a lot of sweating involved, then you want to reapply more frequently as well. And then I'm a huge fan of sun protective clothing. There's clothing marked with UPF, which stands for UV protective factor. And where you have on that clothing, you don't have to worry about applying sunscreen because the clothing is doing the job for you. So rash guards, lightweight materials with the UPF label are very effective at protecting from the sun. Of course, the use of wide brim hats as well.
All that good stuff. What about foods? Do they have any impact, good or bad, as far as the effects of the sun on our skin?
So there is a type of reaction called a phytophoto reaction where certain botanicals, if the juice gets on the skin and then reacts with the sun, it can cause a burn type reaction. So the classic for this in the summertime is like lime juice, celery juice. It can happen with other botanicals as well. But if someone's squeezing lime into a margarita by the pool and the lime juice is left on the skin, then they can get a burn in a funny distribution. So that's something to be aware of. And then there is some data to suggest that potentially these same types of plants, if they are ingested at high enough amounts, could potentially make you more at risk for sun damage.
What about advice? We mentioned skin tone at the top. Let's talk about that, the different colors of skin and the effects of the sun.
So when there's more pigment in the skin, there is more protection from the sun and lower rates of skin cancer, but it's not zero. There is still a risk of skin cancer in darker skin patients. And that message it has been sort of missed over the years. And there is much more awareness that we should be advising all of our patients to protect from the sun, no matter the skin type. So that's why now that sunscreens with tint have come out and they actually have nice, elegant formulations, we can more easily recommend patients use them, and they will be compliant with that sun protection.
And lastly, Dr. Young, the trouble signs, what should we be looking for? And I guess this is relevant all year long, but when do we need to say, doctor, something's wrong with, I see a mole or I got burned really badly?
So in general, what I tell my patients, if they notice something that looks like an ugly duckling, something that looks different from the rest of their spots, I want them coming in to show me their skin. If they notice a change in a spot that has been there all along and all of a sudden it starts changing, that's another red flag that they need to come in.
Which could be something raised, something opened up, anything that is different is your point.
Really anything. Flat versus raised doesn't necessarily mean, good or bad. Okay. So it's really a change or if something really looks different from the rest. And of course, if it's, painful, itchy, bleeding, something, that would be another sign to look for.
Sure. Dr. Alexis Young, thank you so much for your advice today. Very helpful.
Thank you. Okay.